Okay, that's good. That's good if you can see it. Okay, fine. I said I want someone to read for me. I want someone to read for me. That's the Kwagala Nana. Kwagala, read for me what bones are. Hurry up.
Bones are made of mineral salts.
Begin. A bone is, a bone is, a bone is.
Teacher, I can't hear you.
I said begin with a bone is the hardest. Are you not seeing up there?
Teacher, I can't hear you.
Okay. I'm saying, all right, Mohammed, read for me.
A bone is the hardest tissue in invertebrates.
Bone is the hardest tissue in vertebrates. Read. Can you read? Okay. Let me read from, Bones are made up of mineral salts, that is the calcium and phosphorus. They'll ask you to give mineral salts which are found in bones. Number one, it is calcium. Number one, we have calcium, and number two, we have phosphorus. Those two bonds help, those two amino salts help our bones to be strong. Please mute yourselves. Mute yourselves. Please mute yourselves. Types of bones. We have 4 types of bones mainly. Number one, we have the long bones, the short bones, flat bones, and the irregular bones. Those are the main 4 types of bones we have. I repeat, we have the long bones, the short bones, the flat bones, and the irregular bones. They'll ask you to give types of bones. Types of bones are given, or their names are given after the shape. If the shape is long shape, then we call it, we call them what? Long bones. If they are flat or irregular, we shall call them flat bones or irregular bones. And lastly, short bones. So we give them mostly depending on their shapes. Are we together, everyone? I hope that one is very clear. I want to leave that part and I go to another slide, which is describing very well the types of bones. As you can see there, types of bones, we have mainly we have 4 types of bones, like we've said. Altogether, like we've said, we have 4 types of bones. Number one, long bones. These are found in the arms and the legs. All the bones, good enough, yesterday we looked at the bones and even the other day. So all the bones which are found in the hands and the legs are under long bones. They are under long bones. Examples of long bones are, we have femur, we have radius, we have ulna, we have fibula, we have tibia, we have humerus. Those are examples of long bones. And we are saying the femur is the longest. I repeat, femur is the longest, altogether, the longest and the strongest bone in the body. They'll ask you, name the longest bone in the body. The answer is femur. So when they ask you to give examples of long bones, what do you depend on? Just very simple. You depend on the bones of the hand and the bones of the legs, bones of the arms. Besides the phalanges are not under long bones. We are talking about these ones here and these ones here. Then with the thigh bones and those ones down, right? Okay, short bones. These are bones which are flat in shape, and they are short in shape. They are found in the ankles and the wrists. And the wrist altogether. So those bones which are found in the ankle, they are short bones. Altogether, they are found in the ankles and the wrist. For example, metacarpals, we have the carpals, we have the phalanges, We have the tarsals and the meta, tarsals. Now, the trick here is, I've said long bones, you find them here. If you look at my screen very well, you'll see my video or my pic. I'm talking and I'm using some illustration. I'm saying this part here, if you can see very well, this part here, and the legs plus the thighs, we find there what we call long bones. Now, from the wrist here, going this side, those are short bones. The same applies from the ankle. Of course, you know your ankle. I'm not saying your ankle, the person, right? I'm not saying the person. But of course, from the ankle, going downwards, that's what we call the short bones, the carpals, the tarsals, the metacarpals, and the phalanges. I've finished that. And I'm saying short bones contain what we call red bone marrows. Short bones contain red bone marrows, and these red bone marrows help to produce blood cells. Remember, at first we said cortex of skeleton, it helps to make blood cells. For example, red blood cells and the platelets. And what? Platelets. Is that very clear? Okay. Now, flat bones. What are flat bones? These are bones that are flat in shape. The way you're hearing flat bones. We said we name them depending on their shapes. They are flat in shape. For example, the scapula, this bone here, your shoulder, the shoulder blade, it is flat in shape. Altogether. Secondly, we have the sternum or the breastbone. It is also flat in shape. Bones of the skull, they are also flat in shape. Those are what we call flat bones. Flat bones, we have the scapula or the shoulder blade. We have the sternum or the breastbone. We have the hip bone or the pelvis. In your hips there, the pelvis or the hip bone. Then we have what we call the bones of the skull, what we call cranium. Bones of the skull are called the cranium. Lastly, we have what we call flat bones. Flat bones, not supposed to be irregular bones. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share a video. Sorry, I'm going to share a video that describes all the examples, all the types of bones. It is there. I hope you can see my screen. On my screen, there is a video that's classification of bones and their shapes altogether. And I want to share before it plays. Please, in case you are able to hear the sound, you'll just give me a thumbs up so that I can know that you are in position to hear the sound.
Bones, short bones, flat bones.